live.
Hey.
The guy is live again.
Hey, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Don't be boring. Shut up.
You be boring.
I am boring. I know.
Right, I know. See?
Correct.
What's up, guy? It's the other guy. Did you ever do a video on the Camaro? Well, we put them in jokes. We've never actually... We've done... didn't we do a little bit of stuff on Instagram, I guess?
A little bit with like around cars and coffee and stuff, and just using that to our...
Otherwise, we don't really
opportunity.
Make that a priority.
Yeah, I'm sure we can do something like that in the future.
Yeah.
We have a bit more time to allocate to that. So.
Right. So, we're going to talk about like paranormal or like weird stuff. It doesn't have to be necessarily paranormal.
Yeah. Just weird things that are kind of like folklore or legends, myths, stuff like that.
Like Bigfoot.
Like Bigfoot, for example.
Who knows? Is that paranormal? We don't know, right?
He's another dimensional being. I know that's like an actual rumor.
Yeah. Well, like he's an alien pet or something, maybe.
Yeah. Who knows?
Could be. So, anyways, how's your running been going?
It's going. I kind of had like a slower patch there for a while where I wasn't running quite as hard, quite as often. So when I came back to it, I ended up running a 5-miler, which to me a long time ago would have been crazy, but now it's like 5 miles. Deal. Yeah, and I smashed my PR by 10 minutes, which is crazy in running. Yeah. So, yeah, that was good.
So Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch. What's that thing that's down in Arkansas?
The Legend of Boggy Creek.
Boggy Creek. That's like the Fook Monster or something they call it.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's basically a Bigfoot, right?
Yeah, it's Fook, Arkansas.
Right.
Fook, Louisiana. It's right on the border.
Right.
Remember we drove through it and we saw a couple of them. So
2 or 3.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just minding their own business and
stuff.
So
we didn't talk to them or anything.
We didn't bother them or anything, but they were definitely there.
Oh,
That's kind of interesting. I wonder, a lot of people are so hardcore against, like, well, you believe in Bigfoot, so you're crazy. Well,
yeah.
I mean, a lot of people have said they've seen this thing. It's been around for thousands of years, probably.
The first
legend of it.
Well, the good sighting, the video sighting, was back in
that one where he's walking across that empty spot or whatever. That looks kind of fakey to me. I don't know.
Well, that was back in 1967, also.
Right.
So the video footage,
But didn't it look kind of fake to you?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But back in 67, how real would things look?
I don't know.
So.
Well,
I know
that's the most famous picture.
Yeah, the video of him walking.
But I've seen recently
the one in Colorado.
Where they got like drone footage of it and stuff, like going in and out of the forest and everything. That looks pretty realistic.
Yeah, I saw, but new CGI and stuff's way better.
Right. So now they could just fake anything.
If someone's a nerd, it'd be pretty easy for them to fake that actually.
Right.
So
exactly.
I remember this one went kind of viral. It was. From a Colorado train, like one of the trains that just go up into the mountains, tourist thing, and they could see it off in the mountain walking around. So, if you remember that one.
I worked with a guy when I lived in Omaha, Nebraska, and he lived down by the Missouri River, and he swore, and the guy didn't make a lot of stuff up or anything, but he swore, because he lived in the same house, it was his parents' house, and he inherited it. He swore up and down that every few years while he was growing up, and even recently, that he would see a Bigfoot going across up by the Missouri River, like they're migrating or something. I don't know if they migrate or whatever, but who knows? But anyways, if it's real or whatever. I mean, you're talking about that Roger Patterson film there, 1967.
Oh, yeah.
In Northern California there.
Yeah.
To me, that looked pretty stupid. I don't know, but like you said, filming back then. Looked like a guy in a suit, really, to me.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could have been
faked, like a suit or something. Are you reading the comments?
Yeah, I'm up on the comments.
I mean, more
about it.
In Roswell. I mean, is that really paranoid?
Well, no, that's just. That's probably like the most
could be right
turning event with alien stuff.
Yeah,
alien. I saw a thing. Who was talking about it? It was Tucker Carlson was on Joe Rogan, and he was talking about aliens. And he said that there's no scientific evidence for aliens ever coming from space. He said, but there is evidence for, and they have video of it happening. They have all kinds of stuff. It's coming from underwater. So these things, the aliens may just be things from deep underwater.
In the water. And like a cruise ship was taking a video of it and everything.
Yeah.
They never said really what it was or anything, but
Yeah.
That was weird.
Who knows?
Stupid
There could be a
fly,
whole
man.
ass civilization down there. There's a couple of them.
Kill it. Yeah, so I don't know. Who knows that stuff? But
Yeah.
Roswell, like you said, was kind of the first. And
Big
supposedly they
alien
had
thing.
3 or 4 alien bodies down there and everything. Remember, just a few years back, a bunch of people were going to storm Roswell.
Area 51?
And yeah.
Yeah, not
And
Roswell.
it never really happened, I guess. You know, they
No.
kind of gathered there.
That was back in 2019.
Was it that far?
That was 5 years ago.
But they said that the military was there and they were ready to take them down. So I think they kind of chickened out because most of them are probably nerds, you know. So.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you saw like the little plans they were making on Google and stuff.
I remember all that.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of those people kind of camp out around Roswell.
Just hoping to see
and
something.
Area 51, just filming stuff. And they
Hoping
never
to catch it.
But who
Yeah.
knows? The government has now confirmed that there is something. But they never call them aliens.
They just say UFOs.
Well, they call them something else.
UAPs.
UAPs, yeah.
Unidentified anomaly or
Well,
something
they
like
said
that.
they're trans-dimensional beings.
Yeah.
They never said they're aliens from space or anything.
Right.
So, and that kind of...
That's scarier to me.
That's
I
kind of
think.
like what we kind of saw that time. And
Yeah.
I don't go around and make things up.
No,
and try to
I
get
wouldn't
attention
make
for that.
anything up like this either. And
But,
we have another witness also that would not go
that
making
was with
stuff
us,
up like
right.
this. Yeah.
So we were coming back from a little trip, and it was pretty late at night, and we were tired, but we were all awake, fully awake, of course. And we went through a small town that's close to us on the way here, and we were talking and everything. We happened to all be kind of looking forward, just talking. We had one guy in the back seat, and we saw like a rectangular shaped glowing, more white than anything else.
It was
but
like
not
a
like bright white.
Right.
And
It
didn't
wasn't
glow
really
a lot.
glowing. It was kind of just
kinda vibrant, I
fluorescent
guess. Yeah.
or something. I
And
don't know
this
how to
thing-
describe it.
The speed limit where we were was probably like
30,
35,
35, 40, yeah.
So we're driving along, and we kind of just saw this thing, and it went from the left side of the street, and it just glided right across the road in front of us, perfectly level, didn't bounce. Like
Yeah.
it looked like it was on a string. I mean, it just
Yeah,
went
just
perfectly
perfect motion.
slow enough. I mean, and when
Probably
you see
hovered
something
it was
like-
probably like what, 6 inches to a foot off the ground,
something
roughly.
like that. And
Yeah.
I'd say it was probably
a foot
between
tall.
1.5 to 2 feet tall at the
Yeah.
most, and maybe like 8 to 10 inches wide, I'd say. But it was like a rectangular. You couldn't tell.
Yeah.
Could have been like a cylinder type shape too, but it just glided right across the road, and we all kind of just. Of course, it
Stopped
seemed like
talking.
slow motion when it happened.
Right, because your brain
time
can't
kinda-
comprehend it, so your time slows.
And so you guys, I'm the old guy in the car, so you kind of both looked at me like, "Did you see that?" You know,
what the hell
I'm
was
like,
that?
"Yeah, what was that?" And it was you guys were kind of looking at me for answers, and I had no answers.
Yeah.
You know, I could not. And obviously, it wasn't on a string or a rope.
We
or
drove
a
through it
cable or
2
anything.
seconds
we drove
later.
right, and the guy that was in the back, we were stunned, but the guy in the back seat said that it kind of went into some bushes and kind of hovered there for a second.
And he said there was a couple more in there,
Yeah,
actually.
and then kind of just faded away, and we're like, "What the hell?" It was probably what 2 in the morning,
It's 2 or
something?
3 in the morning, yeah.
But it was insane.
Yeah, it was super weird to see.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
kind
the
of one
rest
of those
the
moments where you're just like, the heck? And I don't have nightmares. I don't ever have those, but that night, maybe it was just because I was freaked out. I wouldn't even say I was freaked out. It was kind of just like a shell
Yeah,
shock.
none of us
But
knew what to think.
I had a nightmare that night for like the first time in who knows how long. So that was weird too. And I was kind of like, great, now we're just these little orb things, rectangular orbs. We're going to be floating around killing everybody tomorrow. It's just great.
Totally unexplainable, though. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Super
just-
weird.
Didn't know, and you guys were kind of like, "Well, what could that have been?" I'm like, "I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine." So that was a strange thing that we saw. It's kind of like, you know, some people come up with all kinds of crazy stuff, and you don't know what to believe. But then when you see it yourself,
Yeah.
it's not like someone told you about it, like we're doing
Yeah,
right
well,
now.
then
We
when you
saw this.
yeah, we
thing.
all saw it.
Kind of like I had my aunt was a real serious person. She wasn't out for attention or anything like that, but she lived down by the Missouri River all of her life, basically. And one night, sitting out there, it was late at night, she saw, and she swore up and down that she saw a UFO hovering over the river just for a couple minutes and then phew, gone. And she's not the type that would have made things up. There'd be no reason for her to do that. She didn't call radio stations or TV. I mean, it was just something that she told the family about, and everyone believed her, even though, you always second guess that unless you actually see it.
Right, yeah. I mean, you're like, maybe.
Was she drinking? No, she wasn't. She didn't drink, didn't do any of that stuff. So that was just really, that was crazy. But I've never seen a UFO, I mean, that of. I mean, when you look up in the sky, you see weird stuff. I was fishing in the town I grew up in with a couple other people, and it was late at night. And something went across the sky, and I mean, we're right near Offutt Air Force Base, so they kind of keep a good eye on security in that area. But this thing was like a huge fireball going across the sky, and it wasn't like when you see a meteorite, shooting star or whatever. It's just fast and gone. This thing, I mean, a couple minutes just went across the horizon there. It came from the east and went west and then just kind of faded out and disappeared. And there was actually all kinds of news reports and stuff the next day about something they saw over. It was Bellevue, Nebraska at the time then, and but I mean that was crazy because you're just kind of like watching this thing. Like what do we even say here?
Yeah.
What is that?
What do we do?
I don't think that was a UFO. I'm more thinking that was some kind of space junk, a satellite or something.
Tons of that stuff
that came in and burned up just in a weird way.
You would think they would have said that though.
Yeah, I don't know. I never heard it was on the news. There was a lot, and then it just kind of went away, and nobody talked about it. So I don't know what it was, but
that
it
seems
didn't
to
look
happen
like
to
a
a lot of
UFO
things.
or nothing. It was just a big fireball, like the size of a house. I mean, it was ginormous. So
That's crazy.
I don't know what that was, but I did see that. But as far as actual UFOs, I don't remember. I mean, when you're out at night at a fire pit and you're looking up at the sky and you see all kinds of things, you don't know. You could be seeing UFOs.
Yeah, who knows?
Because, I mean, a lot of airplanes or you even see satellites when it's clear enough out.
Yeah.
So who knows what you're really seeing. Now we got that thing,
Starlink.
Elon Musk. We saw that here.
Yeah, that thing.
That night, and we're like, whoa. I didn't know what it was at first, and then you guys saw it, and you kept up with all that stuff.
Yeah.
So well, that's just Starlink. Okay.
You're like, alien invasion, this is it, it's good.
Yeah, there was like 50, like 50 white lights all in a line.
Synchronized, just flying across the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
if you saw that and didn't know what it was, you might be like, aliens.
Same thing with when he launches those rockets. They look really weird going across the sky, too. They put a big oval plume behind them and stuff,
Yeah.
So, but if you didn't know, it'd be like, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah. Are we all right?
So that was, I mean, here, we're out in the middle of nowhere, so we don't get a lot of city lights and all that stuff. So if you're out there a while just looking up, I mean, you get a view out here. I mean,
you can see the Milky Way band slightly.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
I'd like to go somewhere like really remote, like out in Arizona or Utah or somewhere out there where you can see the band clearly.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
And then we had the Northern Lights, of course.
If it was real.
Some people around here saw them. With the naked eye, they could see them. But then most of the people that I know of actually had to use their phone. So that kind of makes me question that. I mean, because there was that deal with
some AI tech.
Well, yeah, there was that deal with the Galaxy phones.
Yeah, so
people were supposedly zooming in on the moon.
Yeah,
and it was just the AI stuff and the phones that was making
it
look like the moon was there. It wasn't really that big and clear and everything. So I don't know. I wanted to see it with my naked eye.
Yeah,
and not through a phone. So I could
the sky kind of looked weird.
It did look like blurry spots, kind of. But I never seen any colors or anything. We didn't even work with our phone when we tried it here.
I kind of got some hazy pictures and didn't really, I don't know. It just looks like some clouds are kind of colored, distorted.
But we know a lot of people that did get really good videos and pictures of it,
Oh, yeah.
So the people you guys were camping with the other day, they had some good shots.
Yeah, they did.
So, like reds and all that crazy stuff, so... Anyways, that's something.
Not something you normally see here.
No. Of course, the Roswell thing, that's still like a big...
mystery.
conspiracy theory even,
Oh, well, yeah, and especially when it happened in 1947, right after a nuclear bomb test.
Mm-hmm.
And so some people, not nuclear, that was atomic, but some people assume that once we split the atom, that's when the aliens started showing up.
To keep an eye on us.
Yeah, kind of like,
attention.
You guys good? You guys are splitting atoms down here.
Right. Up
What
until then, we were just off
Little
the
ants.
radar, I guess.
Yeah, then they're like, okay, we better keep an eye on these guys.
Yeah. Yeah, in Florida, the person said they live in Florida. I bet they do see a lot of stuff down there. So.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, message retracted. I don't know why you do that, but. And then, of course, the Loch Ness Monster is one. And some of these, like I said, they're not really like ghosts or demons or anything, but they kind of borderline on paranormal because you don't know what they are. They're unexplained.
Right.
So that's that was something I was always interested in when
I remember
I was a kid.
We watched, I think you and I watched a documentary on it back in, a few years back.
Mm-hmm.
And remember they were saying that it might have been just a big snake. Some people said that. Some people
dinosaur.
said that a log. And the picture looked weird, but I remember in the documentary that they did a submarine dive to the bottom of Loch Ness.
And there's a lot of caves and stuff under there.
Yeah, well, no, and they found the skeleton.
Did they?
Remember, they found a skeleton of a Lockie.
Of something, yeah.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Who knows if it's still alive, if it ever was alive.
I think it's just, if the theories are right about the dinosaurs getting wiped out by a meteorite, it only makes sense that some, like if they're in the ocean, they could have been deep enough and survived it.
Yeah.
And then maybe 2 or 3 of them did, and they were able to reproduce, and they just kept,
or they live a long time.
We have dinosaurs already.
Alligators and
stuff
crocodiles,
like that. So
birds.
That's really not that far-fetched to think that something was there at one time and it was a legend, but then maybe it kind of like died out. Who knows? And same with Bigfoot. How there had to have been something to that at one point. Most legends are based in some kind of truth, so
right.
Who knows? But anyways, there's been a lot of pictures of that, and they all look kind of stupid too. I don't know.
Yeah, they all look kind of fakey. So.
Yeah.
But there's been people that have seen it before.
And now we have the problem with stuff that doesn't look fakey, it looks too real.
Yeah.
So if someone goes to
that's too
reproduce something now, it's going to seem like, wow, this is really, this is real.
Yeah.
But it's just AI or CGI or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
Someone was talking about the Dogman. I don't think we've ever heard of that one. Mm-mm. Is that something we looked up? Or?
No.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Is it kind of like a werewolf or something?
Michigan Dogman.
Yeah.
Was a creature allegedly witnessed in 1887 in Wexford County, Michigan, United States. It was described as a 7-foot-tall, blue-eyed or amber-eyed what is that word? Shit.
Bipedal?
Yeah. Canine-like animal with the torso of a man and a fearsome... So basically a werewolf.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Where's your silver bullets, people? Yeah.
In 1937, in Paris, Michigan, Robert Fortney was attacked by 5 wild dogs and said one of the 5 walked on 2 legs.
So he was like the major alpha male then.
For real. 2 lumberjacks saw a creature which they described as having a man's body and a dog's head.
Huh. You'd think it'd be like the other way around, maybe.
A man's head with a dog's body.
Right.
That'd look really weird. That'd be weirder.
Like, what are those one things that have, like, the
horse
and then the guy's torso Centurions or something?
Yeah, something like that.
But kind of like that. They got a lot of stuff on this. Pretty scary looking dude.
So basically just a werewolf.
It looks like a werewolf, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's probably where that came
Which,
from,
werewolves are pretty terrifying if they're real.
Makes you wonder, there's that crazy Bigfoot picture there that we were talking about.
That looks real.
Makes you wonder, like, vampires and stuff, I know that the vampire is based on Vlad Dracula or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And Vlad the Impaler, he actually was a warrior or something, like a king. And he would, when he would kill a bunch of people or whatever, he would impale them on rods all the way around his castle. So that's where the Vlad the Impaler. But as far as like being an actual vampire, no. I mean, probably not, right? Who knows? So, what's your thought on eye ladies? What's that mean?
I don't know, and I don't want to look it up.
No.
I will, though.
No.
Why?
He's tricking us into something there.
It's all right.
So, the dog.
Yeah, it's what I thought it was. It's just. It's basically just.
Yeah, we're not going to look that up.
Yeah, well, I'm just getting off this.
So,
I'm no longer looking things up from Butthead.
The Dogman. The Dogman is kind of. You've heard of the Mothman, haven't you? I mean, they made a movie about that.
Mothman?
Yeah.
Not really.
I mean, that's supposed to be in West Virginia in the 60s. And then I know that... Who was in that movie? I can't remember. Was that Richard Gere, maybe? Yeah, they had one or two movies about the Mothman.
What is it exactly?
That.
Just a guy with
folklore.
wings?
No, it wasn't a guy. It was a... This fly is pissing me off.
There's a Mothman statue in West Virginia.
Oh, yeah?
In Point Pleasant, where it supposedly is.
What was that
Imagine
one
being
movie,
a legend.
Jeepers Creepers. I don't know what that thing was supposed to be. It woke up like every 24 years or something. Killed kids in buses. Yeah, that. That was
thing?
pretty crazy looking. Yeah.
That guy?
Yeah, I don't know if that was supposed to be based on like a real thing or not. But I remember seeing that movie, first one.
Based on a true story.
True story.
Draws inspiration from a true crime story involving Dennis Depew, who disposed
of his wife's body and went on like a killing spree. Really? But he couldn't fly or nothing. This guy could fly around and stuff. So anyways, I don't know. Mothman's one. The Chupacabra. I think everybody's probably heard
That's like that dog-looking thing down in Mexico,
like in Mexico.
Right? Yeah, well, I saw
Texas
a thing that
area.
said that it was also down in Puerto Rico.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. My girlfriend went there, and she didn't see
She didn't see
chupacabras, so they must not be real.
To me, that looks like a dog that had like rabies or something and just lost its hair.
Probably.
I mean, I've seen supposed pictures of that, so I don't know. We have a winged spy. Oh, speaking of that, this fly that's pissing me off. I watched a video. This isn't paranormal, but it's kind of like insect-based. This guy was out in his yard, and his neighbors all came out because they heard this noise, and it sounded like a bunch of locusts or something flying, right?
Yeah.
But they sounded kind of artificial also. One of them hit a light pole and fell down, and the guy actually had it in this video. And it was probably like that big, but it looked like a tiny little robot. And it had...
Serial number on it?
No, but when he would push it in a certain spot, it would make this, like a buzzing noise and stuff. And then they went outside, and there was a whole swarm of them that went over. These robotic little bugs.
Well,
that's what they're talking about with this spy fly.
Well, yeah, Bill Gates supposedly dropped a bunch of mosquitoes out of planes.
Right, but were they real mosquitoes?
Yeah.
Malaria?
Yeah, they have serial numbers on them.
Oh, really? Wow.
You can peel back a wing, and there's a serial number.
Serial number on a mosquito, huh?
Yeah.
But at least
supposedly
they were actual mosquitoes. This thing was metal.
Well.
So, and I heard years ago that they were making like metal insects that were basically like miniature drones that could pick up recordings. Of course, back then they were pretty far behind the times on that stuff, but who knows what they got now.
Supposedly.
Right.
Supposedly they were. So someone said this thing, the Jersey Devil.
Jersey Devil.
Look at this thing. It's pretty crazy
like a dragon,
looking.
kind of.
Yeah. Looks like a horn.
It kind of looks like that thing on Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
Chased them across the
Run,
ramp.
fools.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a miniature version
The
of that
Leeds
thing.
Devil is a legendary creature said to inhabit the forests of the Pine Barrens in South Jersey. The creature is often described as a flying biped with hooves, but there are many variations. The common description is that the bipedal, kangaroo-like or wyvern like creature with a horse or goat-like head, leathery bat wings, horns, small arms, and clawed hands, legs with cloven hooves. Dude, this thing's crazy.
You wonder where that stuff comes from.
Yeah, like...
because enough... Like, if one person, if I went and made up a crazy monster and went to the cops and told them I saw this thing in the forest... They're not going to...
Would it become one of these stories?
So how... A lot of people have to have seen this stuff.
Yeah, or at least believed it. They're
for
like,
it to become...
smaller... Like, I think the origins of things like these happened because towns were a lot smaller and condensed. Now you have the internet. Like, we're in a small town, but we're also everywhere because we have millions of people that watch us. Right, okay. It didn't used to be like that. If we lived in this small town, we'd know the people of this small town, and that's about it. Mm-hmm. That's about all we would know in existence, other than a couple famous people. So back
then, it would be almost harder for a legend like that to take.
No, I'm saying easier because, and you got to think another thing is people were like, they believed in that kind of stuff more back then.
Like legends.
Legends, because there was less science back then. So if one person said they saw something, they acted all crazy. Some people, they'd be like the old people in the town, oh, that's a bunch of bullshit. But then there would be somebody that something weird happened to them the next day, and it would start to scare the rest of the people. Because, that's happened like that in movies before.
I guess,
Yeah, so.
Got going. Yeah, this does say about the Chupacabra in Puerto Rico, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember. I've seen
farmers
pictures of
discovered
dead
with their animals dead and drained of blood.
But have you ever seen a dead one? It looks like a dog that just got mange or something and lost its hair, really.
Yeah, but maybe that's all it is. But there's something to them.
Oh, yeah. They're buttheads talking about the giants in the mall in Florida. We all saw those videos.
The aliens.
A lot of us did.
Yeah.
That was kind of weird stuff.
See, that's like the most recent.
But that looked almost like CGI to me.
No,
I
saw an explanation of it. I saw an explanation of it, and it made absolute sense. It said that it was 3 cops walking there, and it was their shadow that looked like the giant. Really? And the reason the shadow was so big is because all the spotlights and the way they were shining, it hit them just perfectly that it created that shadow. Which, if you watch the video and you see the explanation while they're explaining it and stuff,
then you kind of
then you're like, oh, that's all it is. Okay, it makes a lot of sense.
Neil, who is Neil? I can get you in touch with Neil Gaiman's people. Who's that?
I don't know.
Otherwise, what? This talks more about that Jersey.
Oh yeah, stuff. See, we have that typed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know, like
18th century.
Where did that even come from?
Yeah, I don't know. This says some skeptics argue that that the legend could be the result of early settlers' fear and superstitions combined with harsh, mysterious environment of the Pine Barrens. Misidentified animals such as large birds or unusual wildlife could have contributed to the reports. So, who knows? Or some people say it could have been like a political thing or even a religious thing.
The Jersey Devil was spotted by hundreds of people across New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware.
Yep. The Blair Witch haunting in Tennessee. Is that like the Blair Witch?
I don't know.
Have you ever seen the Blair Witch movie, the whole thing? Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was really good. I mean, I thought for what they did and their budget and everything, that was really well made, I thought. Yeah. I was impressed with it.
I think it was good.
They kind of the build up to it, because I remember hearing people talk about it at work, and they said it like it was a real thing. A few of them were actually convinced that was a real documentary, and that really happened, and they found the camera and everything because they built it up like that.
Yeah,
and it really worked. The marketing was good. I mean, those people, they didn't make much money from that movie at all. They didn't get paid nothing, but it sure did a lot at the box office. It went crazy. Yeah. I thought it was well made, and it was different for the time. I mean, so.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
The Blair Witch, though, I wonder if that's kind of like that. If that's what that was based on.
The Bell family, who lived in Adams, Tennessee in the early 19th century. The haunting involved a series of strange and terrifying events that plagued the family for several years, allegedly caused by a malevolent spirit known as the Blair Witch. The Blair Witch began haunting in 1817 when John Bell, a farmer, and his family... What are you doing over there?
Try to get that fly.
Stop smacking shit. And his family started experiencing unusual phenomenon on their property. It started with sightings of strange animals such as large black dogs and a strange bird with a human face. That's weird.
That is weird.
A bird with a human face?
Well, yeah. I mean, that would...
And then they started hearing unexplained noises, including knocking on the wall, scratching sounds, and chains dragging across the floor. That would be scarier than seeing that bird.
Yeah, it would be.
The sounds are horrible. Okay, that's going to be really... No, you didn't. That's going to be really loud on the mic.
All right. It's driving me nuts.
Okay.
What is the death of John Bell? What does that have to do with the Bell Witch haunting?
Well, it says that he died on December 20th, 1820. He was found dead in his bed. A vial of strange black liquid was discovered near his body, which the spirit claimed was poison it had given him. So the spirit talked to him?
I guess. You know...
This is brutal. To test what the liquid was, they gave it to the family's cat, which it died instantly. That's brutal.
Here, cat.
Test this. What is it? Dead. No. Well, it's not good. Got it.
A lot of this stuff, I mean, I think it would have almost died out probably, except for the fact that all these scary movies and stuff come out, and then it kind of keeps stuff, because a lot of those are based on this stuff, so it keeps stuff fresh in people's mind. But Blair Witch was an awesome movie, I thought.
Guy Jr. always has good info.
Yeah.
I'm prepared.
The Haunted Queen Mary ship in California. I never heard of that one.
I've never heard of it, too. The RMS Queen Mary, now permanently docked in Long Beach, California, is not only famous for its luxurious history as an ocean liner, but also for its reputation as one of the most haunted places in the world, with a long history of tragic events and numerous reports of paranormal experiences. So, let's see what happened. It launched in 1934. She was called the Gray Ghost due to her drab color and high speed. That's what she was.
I've never heard of that one.
She was called that in World War II.
Interesting. Or is it? Probably not. Skinwalkers. Do you have anything about those?
Skinwalkers?
Remember when we were making the video in the woods and I kept freaking you out about the Skinwalkers?
Well, listen. My Instagram feed was bullying me at the time. And
we were going in a cave.
Yeah. Well... My Instagram feed had been bothering me at the time, and just constantly Skinwalker stuff. Now I look at it and I'm like, that's stupid. But, yeah, at the time I was like, oh, Skinwalkers, great. Hear that chicken? No, that's a Skinwalker.
Spontaneous human combustion, Charles said.
Yeah, remember that thing on the boat where all the humans were fused with the metal?
Oh, yeah, Philadelphia experiment.
Yeah, what was that from? It was from some type of implosion, right?
No, they were doing an experiment with time travel, I think. They were trying to create like a porthole.
What is it called?
Supposedly, that was based on a true story. I saw the movie. Yeah, everybody got like stuck inside the metal and stuff when it came back. The Philadelphia experiment. 1984 film, yeah. But the spontaneous combustion thing, that always, now when I hear that, I think of one of the Iron Man movies where they got really hot.
Oh, yeah.
And they blew up, they caught on fire and blew up or whatever.
Allegedly, in the fall of 1934, a U.S. Navy destroyer was made invisible and teleported.
Oh, it was like a cloaking thing.
Teleported from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to... No, that's teleportation. It moved from Philadelphia all the way to Norfolk, Virginia. Did they do it on purpose, or did it just happen?
There's no way that could be true. You know.
I mean, this is on... Oh, this isn't... I thought it was a military...
Government site.
Yeah, I thought it was.
They'll never admit that if it was true, I'm sure. And then, speaking of boats... The next one I got here is talking about the Bermuda Triangle.
Right.
That's pretty crazy. I remember that was like a big thing. You don't hear about that too much anymore.
No, you really don't.
I don't know if that's... But like the old prop planes and stuff would fly over it. I think it was a magnetic thing. is what I'm thinking.
Well, the
There's
Bermuda
something-
Triangle's huge.
Right, but there's a disturbance with magnetics. So you notice you don't hear about these newer planes. You don't really hear about the Bermuda Triangle anymore. It was just
Right.
when they had the old instruments and stuff. I think it would make their stuff go crazy where they couldn't navigate because the weather would be bad there also. So then they just crashed in the ocean. Is all it was. It's a magnetic thing, I believe.
Possibly. Yeah.
I don't know. So what else you got?
Well, you have the same stuff as me.
Where? Say something then. Talk.
The Legend of El Dorado. Does that sound familiar to you?
No.
Really?
Well, it was like a gold thing,
Yeah.
I guess.
Do you remember your game that you used to play?
Oh, Uncharted?
Yeah.
That was about that, wasn't it?
Yeah, the first one was.
Okay. Yep. Believe it or not, I used to actually play video games, which that's been a long time.
Yeah.
There for a while, I'd play video, like those kind is what I liked. Like the old Tomb Raider,
Raiders.
Uncharted, that kind of stuff where you had to actually think and solve some mysteries too and get to shoot people also. But
Yeah.
then I just kind of lost interest and haven't played a video game in probably
10 years.
at least 10 years, yeah.
15 years.
Yeah, it doesn't interest me at all. Charles Bronson said he's been through the Bermuda Triangle 10 times. And obviously nothing happened, so... Yeah, I think that was kind of an old school.
My girlfriend went through it when she went to Puerto Rico.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was she worried about it?
Yeah.
She was?
A little bit. Yeah.
I suppose you would. That would be in the back of your mind, you know.
Right.
But... This person's talking about the flies.
I know. It's
Yeah,
annoying.
They're annoying. See, the deal is we had a tornado down here. If you guys didn't hear about
Several.
that, it was just south of us that took out it killed what I think in this area like
2 or
3
3,
people and
yeah.
just in this area, but it knocked our power out and it was a real hot day, and of course we were going in and out, and we got a few flies in here, and it's just been crazy now. So
Yeah.
anyways, our power was out for like a day, and
It went out about 3 a.m. and didn't come back on until, it was 10 o'clock at night?
yeah.
So that's not too bad, actually.
We were actually surprised because normally if a raindrop hits the power lines down here, it can knock it out.
Yeah,
So,
seems like it.
but yeah, so that was we went and drove and looked at all the damage and everything.
There was I was in Mountain Home, Arkansas, and there was a tornado, how far away was that? Probably 10 miles, direct shot.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was crazy because I was with my girlfriend, and her house there was no damage to at all. But every other house on that street had a tree down or something. Every other house.
Tornado is almost borderline on paranormal because they're just unexplainable, some of the stuff they do.
Yeah.
I remember there was one in a small town in Missouri a long time ago. And when we traveled, we were going to see my grandpa down here, and we went through the town just to check it out. And it was just crazy. This town was totally devastated. But there was one building that I remember. It was a brick building, and the tornado took the whole side of this building off, which is brick. I mean, you'd have thought. It was like a 3-story building, and you could look in there. Because the town, like I said, was just a mess. They just begun the cleanup effort. And you're driving around and you're looking at the stuff. Well, in that building there, you could see into the bathroom on the 2nd floor, and it looked like something out of a movie. The dish towel the bathroom towels were still hanging on the racks. And there was still toilet paper in the thing. You could see that vividly and driving right by there. So it didn't suck the towel out of the bathroom. The bath mat was on the floor. You see all this stuff. You're thinking,
It's weird.
That's just crazy. I remember the one we had up in Iowa that went right over the house. And that was barely even a tornado. It was like an F1.
If that.
If that. But it did some damage to our roof and everything. But I remember in the woods there when I went hunting, I seen actual corn stalks in the side of trees.
That's
they
crazy.
About. I'd always heard that and never seen it. But that was kind of weird. I mean, we had like a storm shelter. We didn't have a basement at this place, but we had a storm shelter out back inside of the hill there. So we all ran out there, and the hail started. The sky was kind of green before that and stuff, and we knew something was coming. So we got in the storm shelter. You were real little.
Yeah.
And I don't know, do you even remember much about that?
I remember being in there, just barely. Kind of
Yeah.
remember it, but not enough.
It was crazy because the hail was pretty big hail, but I looked out at one point because you could kind of open this door a little bit. It was basically like an old fuel tank kind of that went back in the hill, like a little bunker thing. But anyways, I cracked the door open. It was hailing, and the wind was picking up and stuff, and the hail was blowing straight to the east. I mean, right across.
Yeah.
And then, so I'm watching that, and then all of a sudden it just stopped and got totally silent, and the hail stopped, everything stopped just for a split second. Then it started right back up, and the hail was going the opposite way.
Yeah.
So that was, but I mean, like I said, I can't imagine being in something like an F5, because that was a super small tornado. It messed up the roof, took some siding, stuff like that. But anyways, it was, and we had just moved there. We'd been there like 2 weeks, you know. We're thinking, oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we weren't even
fully moved in yet.
No.
No.
So we still had the other house, and we were kind of going back and forth. We just happened to be there at that time, and
Yeah.
that was some of the stuff they do is, you know, kind
Tornadoes?
of unexplained.
Yeah, tornadoes are crazy.
Yep. Amityville. Where was that? I don't remember where that happened at. Was that in? New York, Amityville, New York. But there was one in Iowa. I can't. Oh, it was Villisca, Iowa. They called that the Villisca Axe Murders. It wasn't necessarily paranormal, but a guy with a hatchet like killed his 3 kids and his wife or something in his house.
Sick.
And people, you can actually, they rent it out now as an Airbnb. You can
The
go
house?
Yeah, the house is standing. It's in Villisca, Iowa. You can go stay there overnight. People supposedly see ghosts and all kinds of crazy stuff there. But
Huh.
yeah, it's an Airbnb, I guess, basically. You know,
That's crazy.
stay there. But you'd have thought that somebody would have got that thing torn down just because of what happened there. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. Amityville
See, when it
is just
starts
like
coming
more
into kid
supernatural.
stuff, that's...
Right.
Yeah.
So, see, this is kind of like that. He shot and killed his 6 members of his family, his parents and his 4 siblings in that house. And then after that, of course, all kinds of crazy stuff started happening and everything.
That's crazy.
Now, I will tell you a story, if I haven't told you before, about my grandpa had several businesses, but one of them, he did a little construction and demolition stuff on the side for a side project. So him and his friend had this business. They had bulldozers and dump trucks and everything. Well, they tore down houses sometimes. Mm-hmm. And they tore this one house down, and the owner was supposed to pay him a certain amount, didn't have all of it. So they said, well, before you go tear that, we got some of the cash, but before you tear this down, you can go through the house. And they had antique furniture and stuff in there, and like, you can take some because we're not taking it with us. I think they were going to like a nursing home or something.
Yeah.
So my grandpa went through the house. They took a few things. One of the things in the basement, there was an old-fashioned like luggage like you'd take on a boat. What is those called? I don't remember.
I don't
Anyways, so they took that, and there was a few things in it. They just took it home, put it in the basement. They kind of forgot about it. Well, all this weird stuff started happening. My grandma would be upstairs doing dishes or whatever. She would hear like jars breaking, like glass jars, because she canned a lot of stuff. So she would hear glass jars flying across the room and breaking on the wall down there and everything. She'd run down there. There was nothing. Everything was fine. No broken jars, anything. Well, she told my grandpa about it. Of course, he's like, oh, come on. There's no such
bull
thing.
crap.
You know how he was.
Yeah.
So he didn't believe her at all. And this went on and on for a while. Well, he had a little shop down there where he did some woodworking and stuff. So she was gone one day. He happened to be down in the basement. He heard the front door open, steps across the, just like, and he thought it was her. So he hollered up there. He always called her Ma. He's like, Ma, you're home. How's it going? No answer, right? Mm-hmm. So he's thinking, what the hell, So he goes up there, nothing. She's not there. She gets home a little while later, and he's afraid to tell her about it, kind of, because he like, never believed her. And that went on with my grandma hearing that stuff downstairs forever. like a month or two.
Jeez.
So anyways, finally he told her what had happened, and she, of course, is like, oh, so you believe me now? And he's like, well, I guess I kind of have to believe you. Something's not right here. So they didn't know where this was coming from or even to believe it or anything. Well, they had one of the things in the suitcase, the luggage, whatever, was a little ballerina girl, like an antique wind-up ballerina girl. They had taken out of that suitcase and put it up on a shelf like a little ornament or whatever. Mm-hmm. Well, so one night they're sitting there and this thing starts going off. And they had never wound it up. I don't even think they could get it to work. But this little girl starts, the music box fires up, some song. This little girl's spinning around, right? So they're like, whoa. So then right at that time, they get a phone call. They answer the phone. Their niece had just passed away, little girl. And then when the phone rang, that thing stopped and it never came on again. So then they started to put this together. Well, all this weird stuff's happening. We took this little ballerina, this wind-up thing out of the suitcase. Something's not right with the suitcase, right?
Yeah.
So they put that back in the suitcase. The next day, they donated that suitcase to a local museum.
Huh.
Nothing ever happened since then. Never.
That's crazy.
Never happened. So now how do you explain something like that,
Yeah, that's...
And at the same time, we lived down the road. My grandpa had bought the house next to him, and me and my mom lived there. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so at the same time the suitcase stuff was happening, right? My mom was really religious. She'd go to church and stuff.
Yeah.
I'd stay home a lot of times. Anyways, so I was home. We had a border collie pet dog, Yeah. So
I know what a border collie is.
I'm home alone. It's dark outside. My dog was always really observant of everything. So when people would come to the door, she'd go up to the door, look up as they came in, wagging her tail, and follow them.
Oh, you told me about this, yeah.
So I'm sitting there watching TV or something. The dog perks up, goes over to the door, right? My mom, it's too early for her to be home.
Yeah.
So the dog is at the door, and then all of a sudden she's looking up, tail starts wagging. She walks, just her, over to the couch, and I'm sitting there watching this thing because I kind of knew what was going on up there, so it was on my mind.
Right.
So I'm watching this, and right next to me in the couch, I'm kind of looking because she's sat down like she's looking at someone like a dog will do, sitting there looking at you, and there's nobody there that I could see. Well, right at that time, there's a little indention in the couch right beside it. I jumped up. I went up to it probably wasn't the greatest idea, but I went up to my grandparents because my mom wasn't home. I think I was like 13.
Yeah.
Scared the hell out of me, And that was before cell phones and everything. But I ran out of the house. It was just like half a block up to their house. Went up there, didn't even tell them about it because I was like so freaked out. And I thought, well, they're not going to probably believe me or anything. So I kept that to myself for a long time. But that was something that I personally saw, and I mean,
that's creepy.
That was it. And then, like I said, shortly after that, they got rid of that suitcase. Nothing ever happened. I never seen anything again. They never heard nothing, saw anything again. But so there was something there. I always thought when I was older it'd be interesting to go to that museum like at night where that suitcase was. It was a local museum,
Yeah.
and see if it caused any crazy things there. But I don't know. So that was one of my little stories. But anyways, you got anything to add to that? You've never really seen...
I've never really had anything creepy like that. I had one time where... And it was nothing paranormal. It was just a funny story. So, you remember that movie, The Boy? It was about the little ventriloquist doll that came to life and was killing people.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, anyways, that was kind of going around all the trailers for that. And, I was young. I was probably 10. Yeah. 9 or 10. And so, it got to me a little bit more than what it would have got to me now. But, so I was over at a friend's house, and we had pulled an all-nighter, and he went to take a shower or bath or something. And there was no one home, it was just us two, and he passed out in there. He fell asleep.
Oh, I kind of remember.
And so I was just like, what do I do? I'm just wandering around the house. I don't know what to do. I didn't have a phone at the time.
Right.
I'm just wandering around like, huh. And there's this little, back in the living room, there was a little staircase up behind a door, just a real narrow little hallway up into like an attic area. And I look up there, and there's a goddamn ventriloquist doll looking back down at me.
Right after you watch that movie.
Right after I see all the trailers for that movie, and I'm like 10. And I'm like, well, that's just great. My friend's unresponsive.
Didn't we go get you then or something? I think that's,
yeah.
They called us, and we came and got you and everything. Yeah, I remember that. That was up in Woodbine, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was funny.
The Vanishing Hitchhiker legend. I never heard of this one either. I know there's a lot of roads. Where's that one road where they say if you go down at certain times of the night or whatever, you always see like ghosts of like...
Oh, I don't remember.
I think that's in Virginia or something.
I think so, yeah. Maybe that's what this is based on.
It's kind of like that, maybe, I guess. A young hitchhiker described as a young woman or child. That would freak you out. I remember this wasn't paranormal.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is. That's what you're describing.
That's what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I've heard of that, I guess, then. That reminds me of a story. This wasn't paranormal, but when I was probably 8, we were headed home, and we had to take this highway, but it was really deserted highway and stuff. And we're driving along, and we seen this guy walking toward us in this middle of the night, right? So this guy's walking toward us, and he's kind of almost out in the road walking toward us. But anyways, he's got like a bandana wrapped around his head, and he had something pulled up here, so you could just see a little bit of his face and the bandana. And his shirt, he had a white shirt on. I'll never forget this. The headlights caught this shirt and this guy, and it was just all blood. The whole front of this guy and the bandana around. And it was my stepdad driving at the time. He started to slow down, and my mom just freaked out. Don't you stop. And I'm thinking, yeah, I don't want no part of this.
Yeah.
So we went on by, and we never heard nothing about it, or it was just odd stuff like that.
See, you never know. Like, he could have just went hunting and been stranded and got covered in blood because he killed something. Could have murdered somebody.
Could have been in the back of his car. His trunk lid hit him in the head. You know, your head will bleed a lot.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And he was just, maybe trying to get a gas can to get his car going. It could have been a totally innocent. And it probably was, because we never heard nothing about some psycho guy walking around with blood on his shirt. But it's just kind of weird to see something like that. And this hitchhiker thing kind of brought that
I
up.
had something funny where it was nothing bad, obviously, but it was just funny because I was tired, I was exhausted, and it was that early time of the day where it was dawn, so your vision's really weird. Mm-hmm. And so I was running, and I was running I think 15 miler this time. So I'm like, I'm probably like 9 miles into the run, so I'm already tired and stuff. And I'm running up this hill, and this guy walks down from his house, and is just walking towards me. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And so he was in a jacket and a hood, and it looked really weird. I don't know why it looked so weird, but it looked like a guy dressed as something.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. I was on the phone with my girlfriend at the time. I'm like, hey, I might have to fight this guy. I don't know what the hell is going on here. I don't know what this even is. Happened then? It was some kid, like teenager, probably 15, 16. Mm. He had a jacket, just hood on, just weird looking jacket. And he was just coming down waiting for the bus.
Oh, okay.
And I ran right beside him.
Good thing you didn't fight him then.
Yeah, it was funny because I ran right beside him, and he's like, hey. Because we live in the middle of nowhere.
So you don't see a lot of people jogging or
you don't see someone during the day. No, right. If you see someone at 6 in the morning, you're like, what the hell are you doing out here?
I was thinking you were going to the story where you were driving and you come around a curve and that guy sprinted toward the road and dove in front of your car. What was that all about?
I don't know, but I was going out towards, I don't know, but I was driving out towards Mountain Home. And this guy, he ran down from a hill right by a house. I kind of saw him run from the house. And he came over the hill, went down in the ditch, and leaped onto the road like Superman. Luckily, I had enough time to swerve way around him and stuff, but still, it was just like, holy shit.
Can you imagine, though, how much... I mean, it's weird to say this, but that would have been a huge inconvenience for us.
Yeah, figuring out the legal shit to that.
They would have assumed that you just were going too fast, or... You ran into this guy who was just walking. How would you even explain that?
Because I mean...
Some guy, he ran down his yard and dove in front of my car. I mean, they're going to be like, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, especially coming from a 17-year-old,
right,
which I would have been at the time.
Right.
Or 18.
So, I mean, what an asshole,
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
There's other ways to do that without
if you
ruining
do that,
someone else's life.
Doing that, honestly, is selfish.
It's pathetic, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's like when we were up in Springfield a few weeks back. We're going along on the interstate there, and we see a guy, he just was lifting his second leg over the bridge, looking down at traffic, looking at us. Oh, yeah. So it's like, it's kind of like watching a train wreck, basically. We made it past there, but I was watching in my mirror. I'm thinking, he's looking for a semi, and he's going to jump down because somebody did that right up by where Cars and Coffee is on Battlefield on the interstate on 65.
That's crazy.
Like 3 years ago. They sat on the bridge, and they waited. And when the semi was coming, they jumped right down in front of the semi. Of course, they're going 70 miles an hour.
There's no way to miss
But I'm thinking, here, this guy could come right through my windshield and kill all of us because he's trying to kill himself.
Yeah.
Stay at home and do that if you got.
If you're selfish and stupid enough to do it.
Don't involve other people with your little problems. I mean, that's.
Yeah.
Get help, people. Come on.
Yeah.
So, we kind of got sidetracked, I guess. But
went down a rabbit hole.
So then that gets you thinking. I had never seen anything like that. Maybe I've heard of it, someone jumping off a bridge onto an interstate. But once you actually come close to having something like that happen, it makes you kind of paranoid. Now, when I'm up there, I'm always looking at the bridges like, man. It's like in Omaha for a while, there was kids, they were throwing bowling balls off bridges onto cars. That'll kill you. They killed one lady, went through the windshield. Imagine a bowling ball on your face going 60 miles an hour. So then they had to start putting those chain link deals up over the bridges in a certain area.
People are so fucking
There was
stupid.
kids doing that all the time. They'd throw rocks, big rocks, or bowling balls and stuff.
People are so
that is
stupid.
just ridiculous. So now, when you actually see things like that,
you have to pay.
I never
There's
really
so
looked
many
up
things.
at bridges too much, but
there's
now
so
I
many
do.
things that happen. It's like what are those movies? Final Destination.
Oh yeah.
Where then you're like,
they'll make you start looking around too.
Should I start thinking about that?
Springfield, Missouri is where that happened. Yeah. That we're pretty close there, but Cars and Coffee this weekend.
Yep. So we'll be up there for that.
Black-eyed children. I never really heard of this one either.
Well, you keep saying that, but
no, I heard of some of them. Have you heard of that?
No. Well, I'd kind of heard something about it.
I know they made a movie about that, but
these kids just started showing up with black eyes and asking
they kind of
help.
disappear, and they're dressed like older, like almost like years, ago.
Right.
So they don't really blend in with a kid you'd see.
Right.
And then they kind of just disappear and stuff. I don't know. You want to talk more about that? Read it.
So, the legend of the black-eyed children is believed to have originated in the late 1990s. One of the first widely public... Oh, this is recently then.
No, really?
1990s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Journalist Brian Bethel, who was in 1996, posted a story online about an encounter he had in Abilene, Texas. He described being approached by two boys with pale skin and black eyes who asked for a ride. He felt an overwhelming sense of fear and unease, and when he refused, the boys became insistent, but eventually left. That's creepy.
Yeah. I think they made a movie about that, too.
Similar reports from people around the world who claim to have encountered these unsettling children under various circumstances, often late at night. That's creepy.
Yeah. Don't allow them in your home. Are we still talking about are we talking about the black-eyed kids? Or
Yeah.
Chupacabras? What are we talking about?
What? What are you talking about?
Well, no, letting stuff in your house.
Oh, yeah. Don't
like
let them in.
vampires, you can't let them in. Once you invite them in, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
But they have to be invited. So.
Is that actually like the true legend of that?
That's what I've seen in movies. I don't know.
Huh.
Could be. Yeah, so.
All right.
I don't know.
Next week, we're going to talk about rich people shit.
Like what they can. What do you mean? Like, explain.
Like cool experiences that you would never even think of, and then you're like, all right, well, I guess you can do that. That's loud. What are you doing?
I'm doing that.
That kills our voice on the mic.
Okay, then repeat what you said.
We're going to talk about like cool rich people experiences, things that you wouldn't even think of, things that are like, what the people are too rich.
Stuff they do and just take it for
granted. For example, in Monaco, the F1 race just happened, and there was a guy there with his super yacht, probably $200 million yacht, and he hired a crane to hoist a Bugatti onto the front of his yacht. And it just was sitting there on the front of his yacht, his Bugatti.
And a Bugatti is at least $1 million car.
No. Bugatti, an old Bugatti is $3 million.
$3 million.
Yeah, a new Bugatti is like $5 million.
That's weird.
So he hoisted his $5 million car onto his $200 million
they're just
boat.
not even based in reality, these people.
Yeah.
Things they do. And
it's
crazy.
Unreal how rich they are.
I am going to go fly killing after this, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Those flies driving me
We better
nuts.
get to it, because they're pissing me off, too. I've been looking around at them like, motherfucker, the whole time.
Anyways, thanks for watching. Tune in next week and we'll talk about spoiled rich people.
Which is always fun.
Yep.